Hello viewers, today's episode is going to be very interesting, as you can see. If you look at the setting, you will see that it's different from what we have always had. We have newly married, relatively young people got married who dated as Christians. We have invited them to discuss their experience on what we call Christian dating. Because we always usually have people coming for counseling as to what they can do, what they cannot do when they are dating as Christians. So I'm going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves as we always do. Guys, please let us know your name, what you do, etc. Starting from my extreme right.
Hello, my name is Tavon Mitchell. Me and my wife have been married for 1 year and 5 months. I worked in the school district for about 6 years. I'm in a transitional phase, and that's nothing more to say.
My name is Tommy Mitchell, and I am currently attending Cal State Long Beach for kinesiology.
Yeah.
My name is Olamide Oladimeji. I'm a filmmaker and an instrument business strategist.
Hello, my name is Olamide Oladimeji as well, and my husband and I have been married for about 7 months now.
Yeah.
I work in the railroad industry, servicing turn cars as a quality assurance manager.
So both of you are Olamide Oladimeji. How do we distinguish is who?
We can start with her.
Now, I think I remember tagging one of you, Oladimeji 1.
Yeah.
That was Oladimeji 2.
Yes,
at your wedding.
appropriately.
All right,
Yes.
all right. Over to you.
Hi everyone, Shea Gumbodade is my name, and I'm a health inspector with the County of Monterey, close to Central California. And this is my wife, Foyinsola Ogumbodade. What do you do?
I am a database and grants research manager, and I also lead the Young Adults and Singles Ministry at Jesus Embassy.
Fantastic. So let's start from the very beginning. Are you guys born again? Are you Christians?
Yes.
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 We already affirmed that you are a Christian.
Yes.
How did you spot her?
Oh, man. All right, so me and Tommy has been talking for quite some time before we actually started dating. We met at my school, Pasadena City College. And then after that, we actually went on dating. And we went to, our first date was Dave & Buster's, I believe. And from there, I realized that, when you go on dates, some people will act fake, like, oh, I'm this person. But from the get-go, she was real authentic, and she was challenging. Like, the first thing we did was play a few games, and she wanted to win every single game. And it was quite fun. And then we ate and whatnot, and I got to know more about her. And the first thing she told me was she's looking for a husband. And ever since then, we kicked off from there.
Well, were you friends before you began to date her officially?
Yes, we was friends for about, I'd say 4 or 5 months. And then
Good. Interesting. So tell me, at what point did you notice that this guy must have some ideas about?
I'm not really sure if there was a point that I noticed. Like I said, we were like friends for a while, but he kept on asking me to be his girlfriend. And for me, I told him that, I am looking, to date for marriage because I don't want to just date recklessly. I told him, like, I am looking to get married. So if I say yes, that means that's it. You're not going anywhere. So like I gave him a little, some free room, like, hey, date around. And, I was dating as well. And I think the moment that I realized that, man, I think I'm really into this guy was when I had scheduled dates with, someone else, and I was canceling all my dates. I was like, I just want to spend time with this guy. And then I ended up being the one to ask him, like, do you want to be my boyfriend? Because he had been asking for so long. He's been asking for so long. And
so you went back to ask him?
Yes, I went back to ask him, like, okay.
Nice.
Oh, I know that. That's very authentic. That's very real. Yeah. Right? Okay. Oladimeji 1.
So, I had seen her like 3 times? No, like 7 times before I actually noticed her. The first time was in July 2017.
Wow.
At a friend's birthday. Then the second time was actually in the church when she was a first timer, and someone came to call me at the technical, like, come downstairs. I'm in the church right now, and I want you to see the person. And I was like, I'm busy. It's like, come, you go back upstairs. And I came upstairs and like, okay, my name is Olamide. She's like, my name is Olamide. Yeah, bye. That was it. That was it. And but then I had seen her a couple of times at different events, and I was like, Mama face, man. And I'm like, but I didn't say anything because in my mind I was like, it looks familiar. Unknowing that we've actually been introduced twice before then. Then this was like 4 or 5 months after, and I was like, I know this person. Then I went to my Instagram, I was like, I know this person. Started searching, then I found her, followed her. Then in the morning, the person followed back. I'm like, I know this. I told you. She's the one. So then we went on a date, like, by accident, we were chatting based on food. Then we're talking about food because of food, and we went on a date like a week later. Then less than 2 weeks later, I asked her out, and she said yes, and we're like, yeah.
Just like that.
By God's grace.
So how did you catch the bug? Let me get you.
Oh, the bug. So I came to LA, I think, like you said, in 2017 for my friend's birthday. I didn't actually live here. I lived in Dallas. And weirdly enough, about 2 weeks after I got back to Dallas, I got a job, an offer to come for an interview for a job here in LA. I was very skeptical because I've always said that there are two places I would never live in, California and New York. Too expensive. But I was really ready to leave my old job. So, I came back 2 weeks later for the interview. It went very well. They wanted me to start right away, like 2 weeks later. So I literally, between like that month, I had ended up moving from from Dallas to LA. So again, my friend introduced both of us at that birthday party.
Right.
And I do not remember it. I don't remember him. I was very busy that day. All I remember is sweeping, quick cooking, just trying to get these 25 young adults to behave themselves in this one house. So I don't actually remember meeting him the first time. And then when I came to LA, the first church that I went to was actually Jesus Embassy. And yeah, somebody, I guess, went to go look for him. I came out for the first timer call and I introduced myself. So somebody somehow just showed up with him. I was like, oh, this is Olamide. I didn't realize that they were looking for him all over the place. And they're like, oh, this is Olamide. I was like, nice to meet you. And just went about my day, and that was about a month after I moved here. I think.
You caught the bug after 1 month of meeting?
No, that's about a month. That's about a month after I moved to LA.
Okay. I see.
Yes, that's when I came to Jesus Embassy, and then obviously trying to get integrated into the society and everybody here, and trying to meet new people. I started going out to different events and just trying to spread my wings in this new city. And I would see him like maybe 80% of the events that I went to. He would also be there, and I would see him, just weirdly in the corner someplace. And I didn't even realize that he followed me for whatever reason.
He followed you?
No, he did. On Instagram. Because again, mutual friend. So that's how we got me.
In real life.
He followed me, right? I knew.
Everybody will have a weakness. At the moment you call the bug, it disappear from you.
That's it.
All right. Oh, no, don't worry. Thank you for that sharing. Share, what's your story?
Yeah, basically, how would I put it? Mine was very intentional right from the start. I was already praying that I wanted to meet someone, and she happens to be the person, Foinsola happens to be the person that you can't really make friends with if you have the intention, because she's so smart at that. So I can remember the day I wanted to talk to her, and it was so funny. She was the one that came to say hi that day, even though she doesn't agree with it. So that was a point at which I knew that she's gonna be my wife, because I've been praying, and Pastor was aware of it as well. This day I was going to talk to this lady. The day I was going to talk to her, she came out of her way to just say hi. And in my mind, I was like, look at the person that wants to. And I just got a phone number. And the next 2 weeks we went on a date, and I was very intentional. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be more than friend. So I laid the foundation right from there.
Straight away.
I don't waste time. So basically, that was September 2017. Then it's been a roller coaster since then. I think 3 months later, it was official. And yeah, that's
3 months.
3 months.
December, she said yes. Yeah.
For Christmas.
Well,
Yeah, Christmas.
so for 3 months, what happened? Tell us. What's your story?
So we're both members of the same church, Jesus Embassy, Los Angeles, and I had been seeing him, of course. I would see him at the Sunday service, I would see him at Bible study, but I didn't, usually I would probably say hi, even at Bible study, I would maybe hand him food, but we never really spoke. So I didn't really feel like I actually knew him. And so it was over time, us spending time together, talking over the phone, texting, seeing each other. That's why it kind of took me a while, because I wanted to get to know him first, to be friends, and then see if we're able to advance in our relationship.
You see, this is my question. Get to know him, get to know her, and there are many young people. How did you spot each other? What was it that caught your attention? To say, oh, okay.
Okay,
That was
I didn't want to mention this, Pastor, but I don't want to be too spiritual. I prayed.
All right, it's
And
good to pray.
it's going to surprise you guys. And our name came through.
From prayer,
Yes.
from the Bible.
No, when I was meditating, our name came through. I was like, well, that's a wonderful girl. Then there was a brother again, who were so close. And he said he prayed, and that was the second time. That's how I knew it was because I asked God, give me a confirmation, because at that point, in all sense of modesty, I had few lady friends that they were giving me the green light. So a little bit of confusion. And so when that came through, I knew it was her. So and that enabled me to stick through, because she was not the easiest person to date. She was very skeptical. She held on.
Stop. Say that again. She was not the easiest person to date. Why?
Because she wanted to be sure if I'm for real and
If
stuff
you're
like
for real.
that. So she held her hands on the brake for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Over to you guys. The question is so simple. What are the challenges that you face dating as Christians?
Dating as Christians.
Yeah.
First of all, I lack experience when it comes to dating. I'm horrible. I do not. I thought for a very long time that I had dating anxiety. So for me, it was interesting to actually see that I was ready to like jump in. I mean, the funny thing was, even at the time when I was asking her out, that was the time when I was like, just right before that, I was like, no more dating. I actually just confirmed that no more dating. I'm just out. Like, I'm focused on my work and everything. Psych, it did not happen. And, but yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Okay. What was the challenge? Maybe challenge
The
dating as
challenges,
Christians.
dating as Christians. So when we actually eventually, the first time we actually decided that we knew each other, or at least had been spotting each other, different things and talk, it took from that particular moment to our first conversation to 3 weeks when we actually started dating officially. So everything kind of happened like very quickly, right? I think that one of the challenges that might have also been an advantage for us too was that we really were not very experienced at dating. I had only dated one person while I was in college for like 3 months or so. And my thing has always been, I was like, God, I want you to tell me who exactly my husband is. I don't want to date anybody. I don't want to date around. I don't want my heart broken a bunch of different times. I just want to date my husband and be done with it. But I think that inexperience also kind of just contributes to not knowing, when you're on that different kind of relationship level with somebody, how to read people differently. So when people are friends and they're, at arm's length, you can decide to not pay attention and pay attention sometimes. But when you're paying attention all the time to this one person and trying to decipher a whole nother personality, I think that can be a challenge if you don't necessarily have an experience doing that often. But I think it was also an advantage, because then there's not a lot of things that informs that.
No
exactly.
history of comparisons. That's a good one. You guys are blessed.
I think transparency and honesty, because before then, at least for me, I was like, it's just me. I know how to do my own thing. But accountability was a major challenge.
Okay.
It's like, it's not even just that. It's like, even when I'm running late, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be late. Before it's just me. The day I reach there is the day I reach there. Like, but just that was a big challenge, being accountable to someone else.
All right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You guys are blessed. What were your own challenges?
I think no. Easy. So we were dating for 3 years before we got engaged on year 4, like on our anniversary. We got engaged, and I think one of the biggest challenges for us, and just being 100% honest, is abstaining from sex. I think that was very, as Christians, he knew from the get-go. I was telling him, like, okay, this is how I envision my life and dating someone and everything. And he didn't come from a background of, going to church like regularly.
Yeah.
He always wanted to, be a part of the church community, but because of, just outside things, he wasn't really fully but for me, I was raised in a church. My dad is a pastor, my mom is a pastor, I work in a church. So there were some certain, things that I knew that I did not want to, get into. But when you fall in love and when you see that beautiful smile, things start to get very,
Very what?
yeah, very hard.
No, I see, okay.
It started, and then also, having friends who, were not really Christians or, practicing Christianity and, doing things and, asking about certain things, and then them kind of looking at us like there's something wrong with us for not doing, engaging in certain activities. And, I think that had to be one
So
of our biggest-
eventually,
yeah,
what happened?
I think that is one of the reasons why we're like, let's just get married.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I love that. I needed you to say that one out because you guys are very, very honest. But let me tell you, all of you are blessed that you are married to the ones you love. Mm-hmm. So whatever mistake made before then, thank God, it resulted in marriage. If it didn't result in marriage, we will not be here today.
Yeah.
So we need to thank God for that. But we want the world to know your experience so that other younger people could be guided. That's the reason why we are having this kind of discussion. Now, you guys have been married, glory be to God. What is the difference? Did you see any difference when you were dating as to when you are now married? Who wants to start? Any difference? Yes.
I'll start. One of the difference from being married and, of course, is dating is you have the option to leave.
When you are dating?
When you're dating, yes, when you're dating. For me, when I was dating, I would, go on dates, and if there was one bad thing with my date with the girl, I was completely gone. No matter what it is, an argument, if it was, if the person was controlling or I wasn't doing anything right, I would just leave and start over. The difference with Tommy was she always kept giving chances, and she always accepted me for like who I was. The number one thing was I wasn't going to church all the time. In the beginning, I was never going to church all the time, and I always got scared that me and her will argue, and it would just end there. But the thing is, me and her kept fighting. We kept pushing in our relationship, and
I said divorce was not an option.
Divorce was never an option.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. That's mind of God.
Yeah.
Mind of God. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. For you, what's your story concerning what you noticed before the altar and after the altar? What are the differences?
I think just being present in, again, the day-to-day versus I'll see you today, I'm not going to see you for the next 2 days. There's still that separation there when you're dating. And also, I think the level of vulnerability is different because you've not really completely, even though even if you're engaged, at least for me, you're not really there yet. The final yes has not been said. So you don't completely give yourself over to that person. But once you're married and that's it, it's like, there's a different type of vulnerability because now this person sees all of you, and then it's not so much that there's a question if they're going to accept all of what they see, but if you are even okay to be that vulnerable in front of somebody else. I think that was not necessarily a challenge, but something interesting to kind of walk through and keep opening that little pieces of yourself every single day, and watching the way that person reacts and accepts you. And I think it's been amazing so far. So, I mean, obviously all of the bumps that comes with, realizing all of the different crazy parts of you that comes out. All those bumps.
We have time to discuss bumps later.
Yeah.
Because of bumps. Grammar, speaking of grammar to one another, right?
Right.
To my left, guys. Wait a minute. What's going on here?
No, he took the first one. He took it. I know I'm monitoring. I was monitoring too. So I passed it. So she passed it. He knows what's up.
Those partners like that. Okay, all right. You running your government.
I think the main thing is more of just getting to know each other more, in the sense that when you're dating, like she said, you're not necessarily seeing each other like as often, but then when you're married, you're seeing each other a lot more. You're starting to notice certain things, and then you're
like snoring.
I didn't realize, and all these things. So I think overall, those are like the main things. And then for me, it's more of like trying to then adjust, because personally, I don't necessarily take criticism that greatly, because then I'll get defensive and I'm like, wait. But over time, I'm learning to kind of like adjust to things like that. So I think it's just more of like being open-minded. When someone points something out, you're accepting of it.
Okay. Thank you so much. You guys have proven today that you are in charge. Passing the assignment to viewers. We thank you so much because of the time you are giving us. These are young people, wonderful people who dated successfully as Christians and are now married. So, guys, I'm going to ask a question now, just to prove a bit difficult a little bit. So, who initiated the first kiss before marriage?
Before marriage?
Yes. Who initiated?
I'll go first.
What was your motivation? What were you planning to achieve?
Well, all right. So the first date, I mentioned Dave and Buster's, and this was in Hollywood. And do you know that little plaza?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the
Of course,
plaza.
I know the little plaza. I was there when it happened.
So we was in Hollywood. We was on top of like some balcony of somewhere, and we're just looking over the city, And I was thinking, like, man, what's the best way to kiss her, like in a smooth way? So as we look over the city, I was looking at the cars, and I don't know if anyone played Punch Buggy. I just switched it a little bit. Let's play Kiss Buggy. So wherever car that we saw that was like a buggy, I was like, oh look, a Kiss Buggy, and she was like, what does that mean? And I just moved in.
Very smooth.
So I was the first one initiating, and she accepted.
And told me,
I was curious what you meant.
but eventually, what happened?
What happened after the kiss?
No, I'm asking that.
Oh.
You responded to the kiss, right?
Well, yeah, I was just very shocked. I didn't, because he didn't. The entire date was very friendly. Like we were acting like friends. Like we were just friends, hitting each other, playing and whatever. So it caught me by surprise. And then also, I didn't really know what Punch Buggy was too. So when he said Kiss Buggy, I was like, what is that? And he just went. I was just like, oh, okay.
But to talk to, but it felt good, right? To me, it felt good.
I'm here. So.
Yeah.
It must have.
Olamide too.
So I do not remember. She said it was me, and I actually believe that's something I can do. So no, I cannot remember. I would not lie. If I remember, I will tell you when, the time, and where everything. Okay. But I honestly cannot remember.
Your first kiss with her?
Yeah, I cannot remember. She remembers and she reminds me.
Actually,
maybe she.
I don't remember either. So no, it's hilarious, right? So like I said, kind of go back to maybe in the beginning. So we're both not daters. Like you didn't date people, I didn't date people, and we're probably like the first serious. No, we were definitely the first serious relationship that we had ever been in.
Right.
And I think it was the physical part of being together. We were very, very, very careful in the beginning. I think eventually, I texted him one day. I was like, "When are you gonna kiss me?" Like, I was like, this is the same guy that was like,
when are you going to kiss me?
I was like, actually, I didn't.
That is married.
Actually, I didn't you're gonna kiss me. But I was curious. I think I asked why he hadn't kissed me because it took all of 3 weeks. Only 3 weeks for us to go from literally having our first conversation to dating officially, and I think it definitely took longer than that before we actually kissed first. So I think we were very cautious in that area. That I think the more maybe later down is when we now remember, but like in the beginning, I think it was just like a we were just very careful with each other. Right?
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
Okay.
You're careful.
Yeah. So, brother.
Yeah. To be honest, mine mirrors with Olamide because I can't really remember. But the background was more of she didn't want to even kiss before she gets married. So I remember that. All I remember is it was more of a case of when I want to kiss her, it's a cat and mouse thing. I was like, you come say hi to me. You put all this red. Why would I kiss you? I can't really remember the first one, but here and there and before, we became.
So the redness of the sleep of the lips.
It was very, very conspicuous.
Guys, I want to say to you guys that you are wonderful because you are very honest. You're very honest, and a lot of people are hypocrites. That's why you guys are selected. I know all of you very well. I know your parents and your background and everything. And your couples, I'm very proud of all of you without exception. You have not disappointed us in any way. Now, so let's get to more serious business. What level of counseling did you guys have prior to getting married? And to what did the counseling work? Did it help in any way? Let's start from you guys. What level of counseling did you have? Did it help in any way?
Definitely, I would say so. So Pastor Nero is our pastor at Jesus Embassy, and so he led our counseling sessions. And overall, definitely, I would say the counseling sessions helped overall. And even just with Yazim, we try to organize events, and over the years, not even now. So things like that definitely helped. Even if during those events you might think, oh, okay, I know this. When you are in the relationship, then it would click, and you might even have to reflect and take a step back and be like, okay, let me apply what I learned at that time. So I would say it was definitely very helpful.
Did you receive any assistance in dating her, in getting her hooked?
No.
So you worked very hard.
To be honest, I got the feelers that she was single. That's what's more important for me. Because if once she's single and she's not dating anybody, the rest is easy. So that was the only assistance I got. And once I knew, it was easier to approach. The level of confidence increases because there's always this, uncertainty when you meet a girl. You don't know if she's seen someone or not. So at that level, I would say,
Certainty. Now, was there any counseling?
Oh yeah, we did counseling, and it was very, very, very helpful. And even just for yourself, it was good. So know yourself, understand your background. It had a lot to do with research. Also, we had to do research, and I like asking questions. She loves asking questions, so we just bombarded. Thank
God I'm not the one.
So we asked questions, and on the way back home, I'm just like, okay. It's probably a silent drive home because I'm trying to work everything back home. And when we're having discussion within ourselves or whatever, I'm like, oh, maybe this is what he meant, that and stuff like that. So it was really, really helpful that we did that.
That's very good. That's encouraging you. So do you ask each other questions at home? Because
I ask her
a lot of questions.
When we're watching a movie, I'm like, pause. Okay. No, and I do that a lot because I really understood that, and this one thing I told her when I was dating her is that I would have dated actors and actresses or whatever in my industry, but I wanted someone from a different point of view. She's more into structure and corporate America and more entertainment, so I wanted all of that to bounce up my ideas off. That's what and I told her that. She was like, oh, I'm your muse? I'm like, yeah, you're my muse. but yeah, so definitely we ask questions every time.
Any counseling?
For us, we're actually still going through counseling as well. Like I said, my parents are pastors, and I've, sat through many of the counseling sessions that my dad would give families, and I would just listen in, just growing up in Texas. So I actually kind of felt like I already got canceled. Like I felt like I knew it. I knew what I was doing. I knew exactly, the challenges and everything. Man, like Florian was saying, it is so different when you are in it because it's almost like all the training and everything, they just vanish. And, having, someone to counsel us and tell us, that, this is normal, this certain stage. And, when you explain to us the different stages of marriage and, the amount of time that it takes to transition from one phase to another phase, man, that helps so much. Because I'm like, it helps. Like when we're getting in arguments and we stop and we tell each other this is just a phase. You remember what Pastor said? We're gonna get through it. So and even currently we're still getting counseling from people who've been married and pastors and because it's important and we are just and prior to getting married we were in counseling for about like 6 months, but this is outside source. We were going to a private practice. And that helped, and this was before we got married, that helped a bit. But Christian counseling, it helps more than outside source. I'm telling you, like getting counsel from a pastor, it really, really helps. Because when you're in a counseling with a private practice who is not necessarily a Christian, they might say, certain things that I did not agree with. Like I was telling him, like, there is no out. Like, you are stuck with me. That's it. And, when you meet other counselors who are saying, like, sometimes, people are not compatible. I'm like, nope. It's time to go somewhere else. So, yes, counseling and Christian counseling really, really, really helps.
That's very good. I'm impressed with the way you guys are handling each other. And like we teach people, you are at the stage of still integrating with one another. You still really don't know each other fully. You are just started. If you are not up to 5 years in marriage yet, a child has not come in yet. When a child comes in, it's a different ballgame entirely. That kind of thing. And I pray that all of you will continue to have great jobs.
Amen.
Because when one becomes an income earner, another scenario. So, but the best thing that you guys have to do is to continue to just work together at all times. Loving each other. The aspect of marriage I enjoy is this. You guys have sisters and brothers at home before, right? And growing up, you fight each other.
Oh, yes.
You are your siblings.
Yes.
But you never have the right to tell your sibling to go and change his father's name because you are angry.
Sure.
So now that two have become one, you can't tell somebody, I'm taking my name back or I'm taking my father's name back. It's not going to happen in your own situation. Now, let me ask another question, which is very important. What has been your level of communication prior to getting married and now that you're married? Communication. You want to start?
Sure.
Because of your body language.
I would like to start.
Me?
You did.
Communication.
So prior, no information about me. I do not like to talk to people like that. I would talk to people, but
No, wait a minute. Not prior to dating. When you started dating, what level of communication compared to
marriage.
After marriage?
We are saying the same
He's saying
thing.
the same thing. He understood your question.
I would not. And this is me. If I were to tell her about alphabets, just the alphabets, that's A to Z. I can start from Z this week, tell her Q next week, then 2 weeks after like L. Like then you will not take your time in that.
Figure it out.
I can be very discreet with information. I don't like information out. But now it's different because I'm like, God forbid anything happen to me. They'll come and meet you. So this is what happened. So that is me. I always my is like, okay, now I have to preserve, like this, protect. So just take this information out. hold it. Just know what's up. This is what it is. If there's anything. And it's funny that all of that changed with marriage. Because I'm like, I don't know. We're not married, so we can just change it. But now that I'm like, we're locked. So essentially she's me. So if she's me, she has to go be me there. She needs that information to go be me. I need that information to go be her. So we exchange all of that.
Right. Communication.
So I'm like the opposite, the opposite of him. I love people. I love to talk to people.
I love people too.
He loves people, sure. But I think what that definitely was one of our challenges, because again we're different. We're two different sides of the same coin in that scenario. But then again, I kind of understood, to at least to a certain extent. Again, that goes back to what I was talking about, vulnerability, right? And once I kind of, I think, realized that was a level of vulnerability that he wasn't necessarily at yet, to just kind of give him the space to continue to grow and grow and grow into that, and to make sure that he understood that if the lack of that trust, if you will, because it is it's a little bit of a lack of trust, but not necessarily an intentional malicious type of distress, but just that not willing to open up and not willing to be vulnerable. But I think that eventually, step by step, obviously as long as you're seeing progress, I think that's always a good thing. But that definitely changed, I think, with marriage, with still some poking, but I think you just have to kind of, at least it was challenging, but I think we just both had to understand that. He had to understand that she needs to know where I am in my head and in my space, even if I am away from her. And I also needed to understand that it needs time to be able to get there, to be able to bring me in. So it's just kind of like that, balance that we're always kind of, walking around and still, walking in. So and I cry sometimes, and then he tells me. No, but mostly.
When Tivon got into this church, Tivon was describing to us how we preach the gospel. He says we yell the scripture, we yell everything down, that you have no choice but to hear us. Does she yell at all?
Good segue.
Of course not.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But it's not yelling.
It's not yelling. It's
passion.
It's really passion. She explained
I'm
to
very
me.
passionate.
Yeah, she explained to me. It's not really. She's not shouting at me. It's not out of anger. It's not out of malice or anything. It's just the way she was raised and the way she speaks. And I'm not gonna lie. It took me a while to understand it, because my background. Whenever I got in trouble, or whenever I had an altercation with somebody, they always yelling at me, and then I had to really learn, and it takes some time to understand that she's just talking to me. That's all it was,
Passionate.
It's passionate.
It's passion. I can tell you, many of us who came from Africa, in Nigeria in particular, we speak with passion. Mm-hmm. And even when I got here to the US, my children kept telling me, "Dad, you are yelling." I said, "I'm not yelling." So it's passion. So tell me, what is some form of communication to you that you find interesting or challenging?
I found it very interesting from any other guy that I've dated in the past. He is extremely open. Like even to people that he has just met, and I see that a lot of people, even strangers, will come to him and tell him about their entire life, and he just has that thing about him. Sometimes I'm just like, Dad, you don't gotta talk to him all the time. You don't have to tell all our information. Like, you don't have to talk to everyone. But in our relationship, he was more of the person he was always the person who will come to me. And even till today, I'm certainly working on it, because for me, I grew up, when things happen, I would just take it, I put it in a box, I lock up the box, and I move on. Like, I don't talk about issues. I don't really, like to talk about, my childhood or anything. I just don't. But he does. So, learning to trust him, not only trust him with my emotions and trust him with, my information. I had to get to that point. And he forced it out sometimes. He was like, let's talk, let's have family talk. I'm like, it's just us two. He's like, we have to start now, just in case when our kids, when we have kids, I want them to always know that they can always talk to us, but we have to start it here. So yeah, that's our experience.
I'm blessed. I'm really very blessed because communication is very huge in marriage. If you can come together and discuss issue. Now, let me come to you, Shea. Foyi, she's my daughter, and when she talks, she uses a lot of body language. And sometimes that distracts me. I begin to look at her. How are you coping?
Yeah. From day one, I understand that Foyi is someone she's very, very private. When I say ultra private, and I think within the first few weeks, I observed that, and I told her, it's there's nothing wrong in being vulnerable. And I remember she was doing this. But for my level of communication with her, it's been consistent, if she agrees with me, of course. But for her, it's there's a lot of improvement. And she was still saying it this morning. She was telling me, thank you, babe, that we're gonna get better on this. So for you, somebody you have to date with a lot of patience, and the good thing is that once you love someone, you have the whole patience. So for her, it's still going on it's still tilting on a steep graph. So yeah, but for me it's been a little bit consistent. I don't know if she has anything to say.
No, she has to have something. She has to have something to say because I want to see that body language. Now, let's get serious. So, as far as communication is concerned, now that you are married, what are your key observations?
I mean, like you said, initially I definitely struggled. I would say that. And he would point it out. He would tell me be expressive and talk and say this. But for some reason, maybe because of previous experiences, which I did share with him, I just wasn't as vulnerable as I should have been, which obviously that would have an effect overall on the relationship. But now over time, I have noted the importance of communicating well, with your spouse, with whoever you're dating, and also when they point things out, note it and be ready to accept the change. Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's talk about house chores. Cooking, dishes, taking care of the bed. How does it go?
I like to go.
Please.
Yes, I like to go. So I think if you're on social media or just in our millennials type of circles or all, there's all people, or maybe women I would say in particular, always saying, oh, I thought that love was, the roses and the airplanes and, the flowers and the candy. But man, if you can find somebody that would charge your phone and would do the dishes before you wake up, that's love. It's like they love you. And this man loves me. I'm telling you. Like, some days, oh my God, Pastor, let me tell you something. No, but seriously though, so he, especially during this whole Corona situation, right? He's working from home and I go, I'm always back and forth. And if I come back home and the dishes are still in the sink, something happened. I'm telling you, something happened. So I think being able to have a spouse, and I'll be serious again, but I think being able to have a spouse that's, you don't have to tell to take out the trash or to do the bed or to do the dishes or to wash the bathroom or whatever it is, and you can kind of communicate almost telepathically about we both see all of the things that need to be done, and obviously we should both be doing all of the things that need to be done. I think it's something that I never thought of before being married, but I'm so grateful that it's, something that I didn't have to, worry about or fight about, if you will.
So he's a good dishwasher?
He's not a dishwasher. He's good at washing dishes.
Between us, I do the dishes.
I hate doing the dishes.
No, because-
Actually, I think the first time I ever cooked for
That's
him,
true, that's
I told him, I said, I hate doing the dishes. And being the gentleman that he is, it's like, I'll do the dishes. I was like, good job.
So, and it's funny that you brought that up because I actually forgot. That's actually how I knew that I was going to. One of the reasons why I knew I was going to marry her was that the first time I ever went to her place was with two of our other friends. At like, we left church actually in like. I think it was April of 2018.
18.
And I left church and we're like, someone told me that, Olamide put food on her Instagram story. So like, I guess we're turning up there then. so we went to her place at like 11 to go eat. She had posted a 4 on Instagram. So we all went there, like 4 of us, like 3 of us, we just stopped there like, we're here now, so food has to happen. so she made pounded yam and we ate at like almost 12.
Midnight.
Like midnight, almost 12, we just finished. And I packed everyone's dishes and I'll just go wash everyone's plates. We're like, and to me it was just like, I cannot go to someone's house and eat. And
Yeah,
like, no.
and
So I just felt like, I'll just go wash plates. It's not hard. I mean, I'm done, it's my food, I ate it. So, and while I was doing the dishes, she came, she took off my wristwatch. She didn't say anything. She took off my wristwatch and went to keep it. Like, in my mind, I'm like,
Don't spoil the wristwatch.
set trap. In my mind, I'm like, that's equivalent to thirst trap to me. I'm like, I guess we said it's gonna happen now.
You know, you're going to get a lot of invitations to my house.
Oh no, that really
To
don't
wash
know.
dishes.
No, not to wash dishes. Let me tell you our experience. Now we invite some church members to the house and everything, and after she has done the cooking and everything, and then everybody will come around and hang around and eat good food and everything. Okay, Pastor, we'll be seeing you again. And did you see me there? So that discouraged us from saying, okay, what are you going to do now? But I know that now.
Invitation is great.
What's your story about domestic chores?
Initially, I wanted to, I went into marriage, kind of like what I watched my mom do. My mom was the cook, she was the clean, she did everything, that has to do with taking care of a home. But when I got married, I started thinking like, how did she do this? Because this is so much stuff. And then like having another person who like will see like the laundry basket here, but to put their laundry here. Oh man, it was something we actually had to sit down and talk about because I felt like I was going like insane. I'm a very active person. I work and I do so many things, and then home is like my peace, and I hate a dirty home. Like I just feel like my mind is cluttered. And so we sat down and we really kind of like divided some chores. There's some
came
things.
to an agreement.
Yeah, we came to an agreement, and there's
Was it a contract? Almost.
Actually, it kind of we wrote it down. And we wrote it down.
Signature, but
Yeah, we wrote it down and put it on the fridge. We wrote it down and put it on the fridge, that way we can keep up. And there's some things that, he would do on his own, and he knows that like my love language is, acts of service. Like if he just randomly just cleans the house and wash the dishes, that's sexy to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what? That's a lot for me because
Wow, that's your love language.
that's my love
Do the
language.
dishes.
It's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah, part
And
of
then
it.
I actually saw a memo come up on his phone. I'm sure he didn't mean for me to see it, but I saw a memo and it was like a love language thing, and it says take out the trash for her. I was like, oh, so he's like, and I put it down. I was like, okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow, this is awesome. I'm enjoying it. But we have to end quickly. But what's your own love language? Why are you always putting a
Well, mine is gift.
Good. Wow.
You knew it.
Did you know about that before?
Oh, I got feelings, yes.
So your love language is gifts.
And I bombarded them.
So what's your own love language?
For me, maybe you'll be the judge. I'm just,
Oh, wait a minute. But you said to me before that you can cook.
Yeah.
No, he's told me
Do
that.
everything. Sir.
It's not supposed to.
He's told me that before that he can cook.
Yeah,
Do everything.
you can cook.
Yeah.
You are blessed. I mean, if you have somebody who can cook. Well, viewers, we really thank you for your time and attention. We'll be closing in about 5 minutes time, and before then, I need you, wonderful people, to give us a parting shot to people who are dating or about to date, who are about to get married. And let me assure you that I'm going to bring you back, all of you back in about a year. When hopefully, your twins will have arrived. Or maybe 18 months. We want to talk about, I want the same group to talk about parenting. Okay, so parting shot beginning from you.
My final words is that, you know, with dating, regardless of how long you've been dating for, you can be dating for 7 years, but everything changes once you get married. You know, you will see that, you know, you might think something is wrong, you know, the level of excitement might not still be there, but because when you get in a marriage, it's no more about like emotions, it's more about commitment. You made this choice, now you have to be committed to it, because there are going to be some days where you might feel like you don't love each other. You know, there might be some days where you're just fighting so much, but it's about the commitment that you decided to take, you know, and don't ever think about leaving that commitment, because it's a commitment not only between you and your spouse, but it's a commitment you made together, you know, in front of God. So it's a contract. So don't ever try to leave that contract.
Amen. Thank you so much. The Olamide 1, Olamide 2.
I suppose that go. I think the one thing that I would say is that whether you're dating or you're engaged or about to be married, or I guess that's the same thing, or married, the one thing that's always going to be constant is that there's always going to be an enormous amount of work to do, right? Whether it's on yourself or on your relationship. So I think one thing that you definitely want to take note of while you're dating is that you want to make sure that your partner is willing to do the work. No matter what the challenges are, everybody's challenges look different, but there's always going to be challenges. As long as you have somebody that's willing to walk the walk with you and continue to, you know, just get better and be committed, I think that you can always, you know, just be better with that person. And with God's grace and God's help, I think that everybody can always be in a beautiful, awesome, happy marriage. You know, if you have somebody like that. So that's my word.
For me, I think it's just going to be that one should be ready to be vulnerable. Because that's one thing that is hard to let go of, is that you have to be committed to be vulnerable and be ready to let that course run, how long it's going to take you from not being vulnerable or not accepting to be vulnerable to that stage. And another thing is transparency and honesty, I think. Because it's a different thing to be transparent and different thing to be honest. But having those two attributes will be very helpful. Even as outside of the marriage, just being human.
Amen. Being human. Yes, sir. Ma.
Want to talk, or should I say something? Okay. You know, guys, one disadvantage of being at the end of this spectrum is everybody says what you already want to say. And I'm going to summarize it, Olamide, I like what you said. Transparency, honesty, commitment. And if you like someone, trust me, it's not going to be like smooth sailing. There are going to be times you just want to be away with her, because probably, you guys are from different backgrounds. But, once there's the foundation, love, just take it on. And as long as you are in love, once two people are in love, and there will always be issues. But once there is love, that pulls you through. So if you're in love with someone, and you guys, Amos 3:3, can two people work together except they agree, and you people are in agreement that you want to be with each other, situations will come in, but stick through, better times ahead.
Wow. For you, anything to add?
That's deep.
I'm not following that.
Yeah, you are topping that.
Yeah, my piece of advice is communication. And no matter what the situation might be with your relationship, always go to God. If you guys arguing, if you feel like everything is just lost, there's no hope, always just take her right hand or left hand, doesn't matter, and just pray. That's all you have to do. And she's been telling me every time I do that, sexy. So So just communication is key, and take your love and your concerns to God. That's it.
Amen. I want to thank you, viewers, again, and my own parting shot for all of us is a total package. Emotions, responsibility, commitment, love language, etc. You need to identify and pay attention to everything that is happening, because everything counts. So that's it for today, viewers. The Lord bless you. Thank you so much. We ask you to share this episode with your friends. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, on our website, theopopulpit.org. God bless you.